Hi everyone, thanks for joining us for Politically Incorrect Knitters. I'm Deplorable Knitter and I'm joined as always by the wonderful Ann Pinkava. Hi Ann.
Hello.
And this week we are sponsored by Chicken Lady Fiber Arts. You can use the code Solstice20 PIK to get 20% off of fantastically gorgeous yarns like this one, her blouse barn. It is like an olive green with teal and like aqua and royal blue on it, and it is so pretty. This is the yarn, I think I mentioned it last week, where I was like, I've got this yarn from Chicken Lady. It's never going to turn into anything because I'm just going to hold it like this, and sometimes I'm going to go like this. And so if you want one for yourself,
move it around the room.
Yeah, like, yeah, put it in different spots.
Still pretty. Yep, still beautiful.
Yep. So if you want something like this, make sure you check out her website, chickenladyfiberarts.com. And I think Ann has our little giveaway for this month. Do you have it?
I do. I have our lovely giveaway. This is Productively Procrastinating on her Rhode Island Red Superwash Merino base. It is beautiful. I think I've said before, it is kind of like a black watch plaid kind of colors. I love it. And also this little mini that she sent along with it, which they're just beautiful together. Like, that is so pretty. Very Scottish. Anyways, you can enter our giveaway by commenting below, and that is both on YouTube and on Rumble. We'll enter you into our giveaway. And yeah, we'll give that out at the end of March into April.
Yeah,
as we do.
Oh, it'll come soon.
That's right. We are coming up on the end of March. And sorry, we gave one of these away last month too, and they're adorable. But the little chicken measuring tape things, very cute. Anyways,
they're very cute. That's fun. Yeah, so make sure you comment to get entered. And then I'm going to just start because I don't have any knitting to show. Oh, this that I'm wearing, this is the new sea glass shawl. It's going to be coming out beginning of April. And it is a lovely shawl. It's a shawl. It's very long and skinny. And as you can see, I'm wearing it like a scarf. It's kind of more of a warming up kind of piece. Like, it's warm out, but maybe it's still a little chill in the air, so you can put on your little scarf. And all my patrons got an exclusive colorway that Tina dyed up for them called Sea Glass. I'll put a picture in so that you guys can be jealous. But that's what's going on in the knitting front. And then this is my new yarn. And that came with my tinfoil hat yarn. I'm still thinking about the best way to make a tinfoil hat, but this is her Clat 2 Barbecue something colorway. I don't remember exactly what it's called.
Oh, she was making a really clever sci-fi reference with it, and we're like, yeah, we don't get that one. I'm sorry, Lynn.
I have no idea. Yeah.
I'm right
surprised.
there. I don't know what you're talking about.
You don't get it though, because you know all the sci-fi stuff.
I think it's more of a classic one. I don't know.
Yeah, it could be.
Lynn, we are not worthy.
And then this last thing, I got this from Revolution Yarns yesterday. I'm doing something with this color for my patrons. So, there you go. That's gonna be April. Got some new designs. I like this Patreon thing because it's actually making me stay on top of my designing, because every year I map out my year and I'm like, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that and I'm gonna put out X amount of patterns. And then I turn around and it's June and I've put out one pattern. And so having the patrons and the boxes and at least I'm staying on top of it. I do have to mail out some patterns to some of you guys. I'll get right on that, I swear. I'll write it down. But that's all I have this weekend. What's going on with your knitting?
Yeah. Well, I'll show it off when it comes. But speaking of pattern designs, I have this new idea and I'm excited for it. And I have some yarn coming for new pattern design. I don't know. I think it's one of those things yet again where patterns that I'm interested in is not necessarily what everybody else is interested in. So it's like, I'm excited for this. I hope other people are excited for this when I make it. I'm not sure. I think it's going to be a good time. But
Well, oh, sorry. I think that, everything has its place and you'll be excited about it. And I'm sure at least some of our followers will, because there are several that are on the same page as you,
some
right?
people or something. Anyways,
Something like that.
I'm excited. It'll work out. But yeah, for knitting, um,
Oh, I'm sorry. Before
oh yes.
Anne keeps going with her knitting, I already mailed it out, but the warrior cowl using the Revolution rainbow yarn turned out so amazing. And here's a picture of it. And like I mailed it yesterday, and this morning I woke up thinking, will she get it today? No, she's not going to get it today, but I can't wait for her to get it. I'm like so excited about it. So anyway, I wanted to
Yeah.
mention that it turned out
No,
so amazing.
I saw a picture on Instagram. It was beautiful.
I think
Yeah.
she's been having a rough time. I think it's going to really raise her spirits. At least I hope so. So
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
excited.
So yeah, speaking of Instagram, I put out a picture, not just these bad boys, which I've shown off already, but I still love them. So I still love showing them off. I mean, winner. Anyways, I made a matching hat for them, which I think turned out pretty well.
Okay.
That
Very nice.
I know. I really like it. Okay, I think I said this last week. Here, I'll pop this on because it's a cool hat. But yeah, that having the all over mittens is very cool, but having an all over hat is a little, I mean, it's fun, can be a little busy. But yeah, I like just having the one little Cthulhu squid. I think that, it's not too wild and it still has little glowing eyes, which make me very happy.
No, I think he's really cool. I still wouldn't know what it is, but I know for the person that you're sending it to, it's awesome. So that's good.
Yeah. And I have another hat. I believe this is from some yarn I got from Tabitha that I made. Yeah. That's very cool. But yeah, so that's
Is it just a ribbed hat?
no, but that's a surprise for later. Um
Okay.
anyway, this is supposed to be sent off for a gift. So that's fun. Oh, and something else that I've been working on before I get to my Lent shawl, which the last colors are incredible. But I have been working on a Ripaverse hat this week. So that's very exciting. I made the little intarsia pattern before, but I've never actually put it on anything. I just did a little square to kind of prove I could. So yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah, that is very neat. And I'm thinking of I mean my kind of standard intarsia beanie pattern is out there already. First issue of Blocked, their Acclaim Party beanie. But like I'm thinking of putting out patterns where it's like, no, this is the specific how you plug it in. I mean, I know from my point of view, I've made probably a literal 100 intarsia beanies in this way. So for me, it's like, oh yeah, you just plug in numbers. Yeah, it's no problem. But I know that other people aren't used to that. So it's like, okay, no, wait, we can sit here and figure out the math. So,
Yeah. Some people like to have a pattern to like follow step by step, and some of us are like, that's just a general guideline. So,
right.
it depends on the knitter themselves, which is okay. So,
Right. Yeah, definitely. So the Lent shawl. Okay. So bringing it up again. So we have all of these kind of pinks at the beginning. I love this last section of colors. Like here, that it is all of these icy blues and that sort of the gray down here that's kind of greenish. That, then it comes up to, blue, gray, and purple and white, and then blue again and kind of light blue. Anyways, it's awesome. I love all of this. And then today's color, so this is color Z, is this beautiful teal color like this. So yeah, I'm excited.
Ooh,
I'm excited to see where
that
this
is
is.
so pretty.
I know.
And it has another lace section too.
Um, I don't know
Is
because
that a
I'm
second
not
one?
sure. This is
No,
the
no.
second lace
Yeah,
section so far. Yes.
cool.
So yeah. But yeah, so I'm pretty enthusiastic for these last colors. But yeah, it's definitely one of those things where I'll have to see where it turns out as a whole, because naturally I trust Devin. Devin is a gal of impeccable taste, but also it's like every once in a while there's these bright colors in there. I'm like, okay, I will trust you, Devin. We're getting someplace with this. But
Yeah.
yeah, and I'm just attracted to these light lavenders and greens and whites and all that lovely stuff. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to see
Yeah,
where it
but
goes.
that color's pretty, and then I bet you it's gonna look great. I can't
Yeah.
wait.
Yeah, and
I'm living
especially
through you because I didn't get one, so
it's fun though. And like I said before, it's definitely the thing of I mean, when I first started doing, the lace sections are both the same. And when I first started, I'm like, an all over lace pattern. Okay, this is a little bit of a drag, but after a bit, it's like I really love the overall look of it though. I think it's a really pretty pattern. So even though it takes much longer than when it's like a garter section or something, that it's like, okay, no, this is going to look awesome. Even though it's the end of the evening and I'm like, oh, I don't need to finish the last row. It's like, no, you do. No, you do, because there's going to be more rows tomorrow. There's going to be more rows tomorrow. And if you slip up, you will slip up. Don't do it.
yeah, no, that takes some dedication because yeah, no, I would be so far behind by now. It's just some days I just don't have the time. Like, I mean, I showed you what I've been doing all day. Before we started, I sent Ann a picture of my entire room covered in laundry. So some days are like that. And I would fall so far behind. But
Right. Well, the other day I did sit down and weave in all my ends, but now the issue is that now I only have like a couple of ends hanging out and now they're super annoying because it's like, oh, you're just gonna hang there then. All right. Well, somehow it's more annoying just to have two than it is to have like, 20.
that's interesting. Go
Probably a
figure.
me thing. Just saying.
um, no, that's very interesting. So beautiful. Love it.
Mhm.
Have you
Cool.
done any more on your quilt? Probably not, right? You were making all the other things this week.
Yeah, yeah. I made a stack of other stuff this week, so I haven't touched the quilt, which kind of makes me sad because I do love it. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's another thing where I'm kind of glad to be at the end of the section. That
Yeah. I'm excited for the day where you're like, hey, look, here's the first section. Like I'm waiting for that. It's gotta be coming soon, I hope.
yeah, that first section's coming soon. If you're saying I can't wait for the day where the entire thing is finished, I'm like, it will happen, I promise. Not
Well,
current.
it's the first quarter and you've almost got it done in the first quarter of the year. So if you can keep on that pace by Christmas,
That, that's true. That is
yeah.
true. Though, okay, it's not here yet, but I have a lot of sock yarn coming, which might turn into a summer challenge. So we'll see how that goes.
Okay. Well, that's cool. So any other news we need to knitting stuff you want to cover? We're good.
Not knitting directly. The comments last week were very cool. Lots of good comments. Kind of relating, like the sort of nerd culture thing to the knitting culture thing. How, with how you have your hobby and how it's invaded and destroyed by kind of woke ideology. Um, different stuff about farming, and how with more corporatization, I can do that, with the more corporatization of farms, that it does become less local, that it is less of a community thing. And we got a really nice email from a Dutch lady who was talking about different how their political system works and with the Dutch farmer things. She is not quite as optimistic as outside as we are, like, woohoo, Dutch farmers are doing well. And but I mean, it's still, I think it's still a positive thing. Like, I don't think she's totally knocking it, but she's like, yeah, we have issues. It's like, I empathize, man.
Yeah, no,
You know,
everybody has issues,
oh,
but
God's children's got problems.
yeah.
But
Cool. Well, before we get like into the news, there is a little bit of knitting. Excuse me. There's a little bit of kerfuffle that went on in the knitting community. I only was on the sidelines of it, so there might be more to it I might have missed, but um, people were ragging on Chrissy Glass because she's their favorite person to rag on, right? She's
of course.
a white woman from a well-to-do family, so therefore, and she was offering office hours for $75 an hour. And people are like, oh my gosh, she shouldn't have office hours. Who is she thinks she is asking $75 an hour for office hours? Like all these things. I even saw a comment that said, well, her husband like makes like $1 million. So why should she be charging for her office hours? Because she's her own person. And she is, regardless of how successful or unsuccessful her husband is, if she has a skill or something that she can market and people will pay her for, why should she not ask for money? Right? Like,
and it's also a thing where it's like, okay, she's a, very well-known and popular podcaster that, it's like, well, you can't have everybody hanging on the bell all the time. It's, and then if everybody wanted her attention all at once, then who do you talk to if you have, open office hours, if you have a specific thing you want to talk about or a specific problem? It's like, well, yes, it's expensive, but if that is valuable to you to talk to this lady for a certain amount of time and to have her exclusively, why should,
right.
why
And
should
I
you be
mean,
sitting there? If her exclusive time is valuable to you and you're willing to pay for it, then why shouldn't she charge money? I mean, you wouldn't say it's like, well, to a doctor or somebody else. I know it's, doctors more skilled profession generally, but still, if her insight is valuable, then why not charge money?
right. And the other thing about it too is that she's also a mother. And I know that for myself, yeah, I'm home with my kids all the time, but it's hard for me to like carve out the time to like even do this with Anne, right? Like this is my job, but also it's hard because I've got kids, I've got things they're doing, so there is a bit more incentive to do something if you're getting paid for that time, because otherwise my brain is going, well, the laundry's still sitting over there. I'm still not done. Or I could be starting supper, or I could be, so there's no reason that she shouldn't be compensated for her time. Okay. That's how I feel about it. If somebody is willing to pay her for it, then she's willing and she's entitled to it. If they think, like Ann said, if they think what she has to say is going to be helpful to her, then yeah, that's fine. But the people are ragging on her, right? And this is the part that makes me feel crazy because Fatima Hines, who is Disturbing the Fleeced, she sells she's got patterns, she sells on Ravelry, she's on Instagram, she's friends with Della from Lola Bean. She charges $75 an hour to have one-on-one time with people. And also when she does an Instagram live or whatever, she expects people to pay her for that, for the information she's sharing. So is it because Chrissy Glass is not as qualified, or is it because of her color that people are upset about it? That's the part that I really want to know. Like, so Fatima, who is a Black woman, can charge money for her time. Nobody says anything. Chrissy Glass, it doesn't matter how much money her husband makes. It doesn't matter how, whatever. If people, I could charge $200 an hour if somebody was going to pay me that. Like, you have to know supply and demand and that kind of thing. But also, who are you to say that my time isn't worth that? Who are you to say that Christy Glass's time isn't worth that, but Fatima's is? Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Sorry, every time it says, disturbing the fleece, I just love Neil's fleecing the disturbed. Like,
Yeah.
yes,
Well,
every time.
that's very accurate, unfortunately. And that's why she can charge $75 an hour for her time, and it's okay, because that's how it is. But I just think it's messed up, the whole thing. People should be able to charge whatever they want to. If there's a market for it, then go for it. We live in a capitalist world, whether or not people want us to.
Yeah. My
How
real
it works.
question is, I mean, it's a different person, but it's like, what's the market for those Zoom classes on racial justice that never actually occur, but people, even if they pay for it, they don't get reimbursed?
Yeah. No, it's messed up stuff. So I just wanted to mention that because it's knitting adjacent before we got into like actual politics stuff. So
Oh, it's important. It is. It is why we are here, after all. We are a knitting podcast, first and foremost.
true story. So what's going on in the world that you want to share with us?
Well, the biggest story. So
get your seatbelts on.
Get your seatbelts on. No, so we were chatting before. I'm just going to mention this in passing because no, I didn't watch this podcast. But Greta Thunberg was on with Tom Daly talking about knitting news, and apparently Greta is a knitter. It relieves her from all the stress of the world being ending in 5 years, except 5 years ago it didn't end now, so she had to delete that tweet. But
I know, that's so funny.
I know, it's like, okay, so she knits now, and isn't that great? And the actual words "autism is my superpower" was used. And okay, and this is not to discount people who have autism. I mean, you have severe autism, and still with less severe, it's something that does affect you and everything else. But autism is my superpower is just like you're laying yourself wide open.
It's a really weird thing to say. It is. I mean,
right.
Yeah.
And sorry. Also that, okay. And again, it's like, are all internet jokes nice? No. Is it often a joke of, saying that once information is released, that it's like, it was a comment somebody made about the January 6th tapes and why weren't they all released, and how members of Congress were like, oh, well, it's not even possible for anyone to go through all of these tapes in this amount of time. And then someone made the comment, it might have been Gary from Nerdrotic, and he said, like, yeah, but if you had released these tapes to the internet a month ago, a bunch, autism and coffee would have sorted through all of those, and we would have got exactly the information we had needed. Because sometimes that's certain.
You need some people with that hyper focus on certain things.
And
and not even autism, but there's I'm into true crime, and there was one case that was solved by people who obsessively were like watching all the video associated with it to figure it out. So you put that out there, and there are people who are gonna be interested enough to do it.
Exactly. I mean, and again, this isn't to rag specifically on autism or anything else, but people joke about autism as being an oddly hyper-focused thing, which sometimes it definitely is. But it's that, man, if there weren't people who had bizarre, hyper-fixated interests, this world would be a much more boring place. You wouldn't get weird medieval cabbage facts. You wouldn't like all of these things that you need to know. The interesting stuff comes from somebody who is just like, no, really, I need to get to the bottom of this. So anyways, that totally distracts from Greta. That Greta and her hyper focus being the world is dying because I was told so, and you are not doing enough. And that she is intellectually honest enough to a certain extent that she has no mercy about her, that she has no compromise, no nothing. And it's weird, except for the fact that she naturally has had a very privileged life. And yeah, there seems to be an exception for herself, even though there's no exception for other people. But anyways, so she knits now, and she has a book coming out, which is very Michelle Obama of her to have a book coming out and then suddenly know how to knit and go on knitting tour. So
yeah, no, that is odd. And Anne and I were going to watch this podcast that had been discussed between us. And then the Trump stuff started happening. And then we were like, well, I guess that's more important. But now
right.
the Trump thing kind of fizzled. So it's like, well, I guess we should watch the podcast. It's
Right.
hard to say.
We were on a call together and I'm like, oh, well, this is terrible to say, but if Trump gets arrested, I don't need to listen to Greta Thunberg. And then he didn't get arrested. So I guess I should have listened.
But it's been up in the air. So it's one of those things, you're kind of on tenterhooks waiting to see what was happening.
Right. And it has been absolutely fascinating too, because Trump very much, I mean, not that they couldn't still arrest him, because boy, howdy, there are some fools who want to see him perp walked. They want to see him in cuffs. They want to punish him to the farthest extent of the law, perp walked for not even. Okay, so the alleged reason is that he had hush money paid to Stormy Daniels, who he said he didn't have an affair with. But the hush money is not the issue. The issue is that it falls under campaign finances to pay hush money, because that would in some way hurt your campaign. But the problem is, if Trump paid that money, then it can't be a campaign finance thing, because you can finance your own campaign to the furthest extent. Yeah, so it's, you can always spend as much of your own money as you like to promote yourself, but there's a limit on how much of other people's money that you can spend. So that's
so strange.
Yeah, well, as I forget who said it, but it's like, they've already determined Trump guilty. They just need to find the crime. They didn't find it raiding Mar-a-Lago. They didn't find it for years. They didn't find, it's like, no, wait, Stormy Daniels, that is the crime.
Well, the thing about the Stormy Daniels thing, though, is that it is technically, if it was a thing, it would be a misdemeanor, which has a statute of limitations of 2 years. So that would have been over during his presidency. If it's a felony, which it's not, but they were kind of trying to make it be one, the statute of limitations is only 5 years. So that's still over.
Yeah,
we're coming up on like 8 years at this point. So they're grasping at straws. It's a Soros funded prosecutor that's going after him. The grand jury,
a Soros funded prosecutor who is not prosecuting violent crimes.
Actual crime in Manhattan. I mean, everybody's seeing what it's like in New York. People are getting pushed on the subway tracks and stuff, but we're worried about Trump and Stormy Daniels.
12-year-old girl, gang of men kicking her in the street.
Yeah. And it's really, really sad. I used to love going to New York, and my kids were like, oh, we'll go there someday, right? And I'm just kind of like, yeah. And in my brain, I'm going, there's no chance in hell I'm ever taking you there. We don't even go to the city that's nearby us now because it's a Democrat-run city and it's a bunch of shit. It's just terrible, 12-year-olds carjacking and stuff. But no, this guy, this prosecutor, he does not prosecute anybody. He takes felonies and gets them down to misdemeanors when they should be like, actually, people are really, really committing crimes. But he's like, but there's 23 people on the grand jury, right? And at least 12 of them have to vote to indict, and it doesn't look like they're gonna. Yeah, and even if they did, it's so flimsy. It's not going to go anywhere once it's been done.
Yeah, and okay, even Elon Musk has said if this happens, it's a landslide win for Trump.
Oh, yeah.
Every single time.
Yeah.
And also, okay, him and DeSantis DeSantis has not handled this well, I think. I don't
Yeah.
know what your opinions of it are. He made sort of a flippant comment about like, oh, well, I don't know what it is to pay off a porn star. Ha ha ha. I know there is sort of that sort of lip pursing with DeSantis, and I almost said sanctimonious naturally, so it's not exactly an
Yeah.
uncalled for nickname. But there is that little bit of a, oh well, I'm confident in this, and it's like, Ron, buddy, what are you thinking? Don't don't be a fool about this. Don't think that you can play this off for your benefit, that you, in making yourself the better person, um you know, that there's a, oh well, I'm above this Trump nonsense that makes him totally miss the point. And it's not helping him or his imagined base. And also him, I know he's getting buddy buddy with a lot of Jeb Bush types. And I just heard that he hired, I think it was Ted Cruz's campaign manager. So whoop-de-doo, that's really gonna help you out there.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, it's been a debate. My dad said he likes him. We haven't talked too much about why though, but I think when it comes down to it, yeah, he's done awesome in Florida, but he's
Yep.
still a politician. Like,
Yep.
I think the huge appeal of Trump was that he wasn't a politician and that he's like, I am, not interested in any of this stuff. I have my own money. I don't need any of this. That was his biggest appeal to me. He didn't need any of this crap that's going on. And I liked that. But DeSantis, even though he's done really well, I feel like he's still got that politics thing going on where he does want to have the not the stuff that goes with it, but you understand what I'm trying to get at. Like
Right.
he's
And
still
that
got that.
and kind of thing too, that's like, okay, DeSantis was like, all right, Florida, after the initial several months, we're a free state now. We're pushing back against woke, no drag queen in schools, stuff like that. The quote, don't say gay bill, which was just don't talk about, sexual things with children under a certain age. Very
Hmm.
straightforward, good stuff. Pushing back against Disney, awesome. All of that is good. And he can be a little abrasive and no, wait, we're pushing back against this. But the fact, what worries me most is that he's only been a presidential pick, let's say, that has been something that's been mentioned but less pushed before Trump announced that he was running.
Hmm.
And after that, there has been the very rhino Republican, never Trump sort of swelling up behind DeSantis. And it seems that DeSantis has let that go to his head, and he's already doing the sort of head nod and the, yeah, well, but I'm the reasonable one and you're unreasonable sort of a thing, that I'm like, nobody, if you can have your head turned so fast, like that's very bad. And it's not as if he hasn't done good stuff, or perhaps that wouldn't happen to other people as well. I'm not saying that anyone's immune to this.
Hmm.
Everyone likes to have their butt kissed, but still, like that is something
Yeah.
that concerns me in
You
seeing this
know,
happen already.
and I think that he does try to do the Trump swagger a little bit, and it doesn't work for him. Trump can do Trump because that's who he is.
Right.
Um, and I'm still not saying that I want him to run. I'm not saying I want him to win. I still don't know where I stand on that, but I don't I don't feel like DeSantis is going to get all the way by trying to be like a Trump light.
Yeah.
Like, if you're going to go and do what you want to do and you're going to stand up for your stuff, awesome. But you kind of I don't know. And the rhinos coming up behind him, that makes me gross. I don't like it.
I know. And okay, someone was ragging on Christy Nome once, and it's like, oh, she's just career this or career that. I'm like, okay, maybe. But Ron DeSantis didn't turn orange for his health. Like, no, he's copying Trump because it does well. And it's like, and that's awesome. Copy Trump, but also like, no, you're getting into, and also he just did an interview with Piers Morgan. Okay, Piers Morgan, who, yes, is a name that's known in America and a name that is known all throughout England, of course. He's known, but when Mark Stein was on GB News, he got 3 times Piers Morgan's ratings. Okay. And everyone's like, oh, well, if we need to talk to someone international and slightly, maybe not really anything near conservative, we're going to go talk to Piers Morgan. Like, why? That weasel. Like, just gives you that little international flavor. Speaking of Mark Stein, very briefly, his lawyers did start the proceedings with Ofcom. So, I mean, that was always a go, but it's definitely a go now.
Yeah, no, I'm interested in hearing what's going to happen with that. And so is he done with BBC? Is that what it was?
GB News.
GB News. Okay, I'm sorry. So he's done with them though, right? Because they were being crapheads.
Right. They were going to illegally make him liable for all of the Ofcom fees. Ofcom, again, British TV regulator. And if someone has an Ofcom complaint against them that ends that normal Ofcom complaint things is like if you use strong language before the watershed, like those sort of things. But they also police opinions now, which is the issue. And his episode that was removed, that the episode is not just allowed to have an Ofcom complaint against it. GB News very quickly and quietly scrubbed it from YouTube. But yeah, that's on his own website. It's Stein Online, and he's been doing his own show there too. So that's been very.
That's
but
cool.
Yeah, it was complaint against him for COVID disinformation, which so much now is COVID disinformation. Oh, and sorry, I'm going to rattle on a little bit because another story from England this week, and also has to go in with media censorship. Andrew Bridgen, who is MP, and he was the guy who, after he gave his first speech on Parliament about vaccine harms, somebody came over from number 10 and basically to pay him off. That was like, anything you want. And if you shut up, like we can get it for you. So he did another speech about vaccine harms in Parliament. And he was mentioning, again, he was very straight with numbers. And okay, so numbers are that 1 in 990 people who take the Pfizer shot have a serious injury from it, a serious medical reaction. 1 in 662 Moderna. Over all booster shots, it's a 1 in 800 chance, which is much higher than people getting COVID and being in hospital generally.
Right. Okay. So it's a 1 in how many people again? I'm sorry.
Okay, sorry. 1 in 990 people for Pfizer, 1 in 662 for Moderna, and generally over all boosters, about 1 in 800.
Okay. So, okay.
Right, for serious, either debilitating injury or death reaction to this. So he had a speech about this on Parliament. And another Tory MP went through, a Tory MP who is very, very cozy, pictures of him with different Chinese players and Bill Gates, weirdly enough, but he masked, went around and shooed all of the other members of Parliament out of Parliament for his vaccine speech, that it was so egregious, apparently, him giving numbers about this, that everybody else were shooed out. And then the video of that, a video of a member of Parliament speaking to Parliament, was then removed from YouTube. Now, there was enough complaint that it brought it back, and there were a lot of letters being written to many MPs saying, hey, why weren't you in Parliament listening to this man's speech? This is important. Why aren't you doing something about it? That there are many MPs that have been, I think, rightly shamed about this. But the guy's been standing firm, and this is a massive, massive deal. And not only that, okay, so again, mentioned this last week, but that England's vaccine injury system, that they've only had 44 claimants actually receive any money from this. And at the rate that they're going of the claimants coming in and the money going out, okay, it will actually take centuries for them to resolve this. They are dragging their feet so badly about this issue.
Wow. Well, who really wants to say, yeah, yeah, we were wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, this did hurt you. Yeah, like, it makes sense that they are doing everything they can to keep it quiet and not pay out. And,
Yeah.
because if they're doing a lot of payouts, then more people are probably going to be like, hey, it happened to me too, or my person, or, it opens the doors for even more. So I get why they're doing it. Not that it's right, but
Right.
yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah, definitely. And also, again, it's a big tech censorship issue. I mean, we have Ofcom censorship, big tech censorship. Yeah, it's a big old deal.
Hmm. That's fantastic.
Well, also to rattle on, might as well. But there has been a lot of good news on the Rumble front that Crowder's back, yay! But also the numbers that Crowder has been able to pull on Rumble, which Rumble is very clear about that they are that they don't do censorship, not censorship of opinions. I mean, graphic content, they'd probably come in and yeah, no,
Right.
but right that they're very baseline. They're very like, no, anyone can come on and use our platform. So yeah, and this is off the top of my head, but he's been pulling down numbers like 2.1 million on Rumble and 300,000 on YouTube. So yeah, there is
big difference.
yeah, and I mean, when before it would be the opposite on either platform. So there
Right.
really is a big push. It's exciting.
That is exciting. We are on Rumble, in case you guys did not know that. We do have a channel over there. So, you can watch us there as well as on YouTube.
Yep. And
Um,
Rumble is adding features and improving all the time. My fingers crossed. My biggest issue with Rumble is that it is very difficult to search if you don't get the name in exactly. So if you're searching for us and you're like, I can't find you, it's politically incorrect knitters, no spaces. Because sometimes it'll be like, oh, well, that's just the slightest bit different and it'll do something. So hopefully, again, Rumble crashed yesterday. There were so many people watching Crowder that it crashed their servers and they got it back up. But I mean, there's growing pains there, but they're definitely building it up, building it to last. And yeah, and doing good contracts with people. So
that's cool.
okay.
So speaking of like different platforms and stuff, TikTok is being they're talking about banning it. There's some lawmakers pushing to ban TikTok in the US. And before we got on, I was watching a little bit of the committee hearing with the CEO or whomever he is of TikTok. And it's really interesting to watch because they're asking him questions like, is it true that ByteDance or whomever is their parent company is required to have a China government member on the board? And he's like very evasive about it and stuff. He's like,
yes,
no, that's
yes, it's true.
no. He's like, well, no, that's not true. And the lady come off and she's like, you're lying. Okay, moving on. Like, but it's just really interesting. And I've never gotten into TikTok. I know a lot of people like to watch the videos on it. It's whatever. But
TikTok is interesting because I mean, we all love a good meme. Memes are awesome. And TikTok is a very specific niche of sound memes, that whatever the overlay of sound is, and then the new visual is the joke, as opposed to kind of other direction. So it's interesting in how it behaves. But I mean, I saw a headline that it was something like most teenage users, when they log into TikTok, see something promoting suicide in the first 10 minutes of flipping through the
nice.
yeah.
Yeah. No, and that's one of the concerns. And then there's the concern about like China mining our data and that they
Yep, that
have
if you have TikTok downloaded on your phone, every keystroke is recorded essentially.
exactly.
So if you are in your text messages and you're like, nah, I'm not going to say that, and you delete that, TikTok knows what you deleted and TikTok records what you deleted.
Right. And they also, so that means they're getting passwords that you're inputting. It's you know, if I were ever smart enough to like program something and I wanted like world domination, that's what you do. You get it on everybody's phones, you get it into something that they want, that they can't live without. And yeah, you get all their information from them that way, because you make something that they can't, they have to have. That's what they've done. People have to have TikTok on their phone. They're obsessed with it. They love it. And part of the reason I never got into it is just because I don't have time. Like sometimes I'll get stuck on Instagram, like watching random videos of like cats, and I'll be like, wait, that was like 20 minutes ago. What happened?
Right.
So.
No, and speaking of memes, so I saw one that it was like, oh man, I heard that if TikTok becomes illegal, that all of these TikTok influencers will lose your job. And I'm like, Harry, you don't gotta sell it on me. I've already want to ban TikTok. And it's like, you mean they'll go out, you mean they'll lose their jobs? Great. This is awesome. Yeah. Like, it's okay. If you're popular on TikTok, I'm sure you'll find another platform. It's okay. You can make dumb videos elsewhere. YouTube Shorts, they're pushing them. I'm sure you'll be all right.
They are pushing them. They're pushing Reels on Instagram. I'm sure that it'll work out. But
even on Pinterest, yeah. Which they're like, do you want video? I'm like, get out of here. I am here entirely for funny superhero jokes and intricate brass doorknobs. Like, what are you talking about?
See, now mine is all like those Russian knitting and crochet patterns. I can't read anything, but they're really cool looking.
Yeah.
I like those a lot. But I don't go. And then my mom sends me jokes through Pinterest, which is hilarious to me. She likes to send me stuff. But yeah, no, there'll be a new place for the influencers to go, I'm sure. Because if they've figured out how to monetize TikTok enough that that's what their job is, I'm sure that they will find a way to keep making money.
Exactly. But, dumb jokes and degeneracy will always find a way.
Yeah. So that's everything I had. What about you? Have we hit all your topics?
Neil's new magazine. Is that out soon?
Yeah. A new issue of Black should be coming out within the next week or two. It's usually the beginning of the month when it comes out. So make sure you're paying attention to that. And Murder Knits has been doing new episodes lately, so that's fun.
Yep.
What else has been going on in the knitting world? I don't know. I haven't been hanging out that much in it.
Knitting Wars.
Oh yeah, Knitting Wars. It'll be on Tuesday. And in a couple weeks, we're going to have the famous artist Brittany Rose on. So that's her name, right?
It is, yes.
It sounded so wrong coming out of my mouth all of a sudden.
I know. I know. I'm excited. The kind of thing with Birdie is that when we've had her on before, we've had her on a couple times in a row because, so enjoy talking to her and having her on. And it's been one of those things where she's been busy, we've been busy. We're like, no, come back on. You're awesome. Yeah. So it's going to be good catching.
People have been after her again. I don't know. She must have said something or incensed somebody in the trans community because they've been after her again. So I want to find out what's up, Mr. So yeah, that's the stuff we've got going on. I hope that, hey, I want to know if you guys have a favorite between Trump, DeSantis, another person that's talking about running. Tell me why. Put it in the comments because, like I said, I'm still on the fence. If Trump is the forerunner, I will be voting for him. Probably the same with DeSantis because anything has to be better than Joe. Like that's what it is. But why do you like who you like? I think I got burned out with the whole Trump train and the insurrection and all the things that were going on. But now I'm ready to kind of get back into it. So tell me who you like and why. I'm curious. For sure. And I actually have a couple new patterns coming out based on Trump and our country and different things. So keep an eye out. Those should come soon, I hope, if I can knit fast enough. So but yeah, check out Chicken Lady. Get fabulous yarns like this silver one that we still don't know the name of. Or Blouse Barn, which is lovely. I think it's more olivey than it's showing up, but It's really pretty, really, really bright colors in there. Love it. Use the code solstice 20 PIK. I think that's all. Anne's
That's
got
right.
the giveaway.
Yep. Comment below to enter our giveaway, or just go to chickenladyfiberarts.com and buy some because it's worth it. You know it is. And
Yeah.
gosh,
So
I think
follow us on YouTube, Rumble, Instagram, Twitter, and Pinkava, Deplorable Knitter. Like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you on Tuesday for the name wars.
see you guys then. It'll be a good time.
All right. Bye.
Bye.